Greetings, friend. Just a quick note to say thank you if you have registered for my free training on communicating more effectively. It's coming up on September 17th, 2025. I will be talking about the 3 pathways that will help you connect more easily to those you're talking to. I'll also be diving into Enneagram energy and what to look for in each of the 9 types. I'll be offering lots of tips and strategies for communicating with each type, even if you don't know that other person's type. This event is more about noticing energy than typing. I hope you will join me. You can register for this training at swansoncoaching.com/training. Welcome back, friend. Today we are diving into that voice in your head, the inner critic. You know the one. It's the voice that has an opinion about everything you do, and its opinions are usually not kind. This inner critic can tell you you're not enough, or maybe you're too much, or you should have done that thing better. And for my Enneagram type 1s, the inner critic is basically a roommate who never moves out. However, for the other 8 types, it still shows up, but it has a slightly different script. So in this episode, I'm going to paint you a picture of how the critic operates for each of the 9 Enneagram types. And I'll also walk you through 7 exercises that you can use to shift your relationship with that critic, because it's not about making it vanish. I have a lot of clients who want to throw that inner critic out the window. That is not an option. And you can't duct tape it in the basement and hope for the best either. But you can learn to live with this inner critic in ways that bring more kindness, more freedom, and maybe a little bit of humor. And I will also share my inner critic story and what I've done to quiet its voice. And no, it hasn't gone away. It's not the point, but it is a lot smaller and also a lot cuter than it used to be. So to illustrate each type's inner critic, I'm going to use one of the exercises that I share with my clients, and that is to personify your inner critic. And I'll get more into this when I talk about those 7 exercises for working with your inner critic. But this is a good one, getting it out of your head and into a character walking beside you, a character you can have a dialogue with. This can be so helpful. So let us meet the inner critic of each type, shall we? And we're going to start with the body types of 8, 9, and 1. So type 8. So this inner critic is called the vulnerability shamer. So this critic, it's like a drill sergeant. It's constantly saying, don't be weak, don't show softness. If you let your guard down, you will get hurt. Keep control, be strong, or else. So it really shuts down tenderness. It really shuts down the heart. And the heart is all about vulnerability and emotions and showing those emotions. So this inner critic shuts that down, so the type 8 can keep moving forward without having to deal with those emotions. Type 9 is the chill friend who has a really groovy hippie vibe. And for 9s, this critic, this chill friend, they say, don't make a fuss, stay comfortable. If you push for what you want, you'll just upset everyone. And you're probably too much trouble anyway. So just relax. Just chill out with me. So this voice of this critic, it really lulls type 9s back into the couch cushions, sometimes into mindless, numbing activities like scrolling on their phones or eating comfort food, so they don't have to deal with conflict. So type 1, so this is the perfection police, and this critic is always marching beside them with a clipboard. So they're saying that email is sloppy, your house is a mess, you're 2 minutes late, you could have done that better, you could have done that right. Did you even do it right? I don't know. Honestly, just try harder. So for this type, this is sort of a differentiator when trying to figure out your type. Their inner critic is on 95 to 100% of the time, which is a lot. It's like a full-time internal auditor who's always telling them what they could have done better. They are criticizing everything that person thinks, feels, and does. It's a lot. So if you lead with this type, or if you know someone with this type, I've said this before, I invite you to cultivate a lot of compassion for this type and a lot of compassion for yourself if you lead with this type. So type 2's inner critic is the guilt tripper. So this one says, you should have done more for them. You're being selfish. You only made one sandwich for lunch. Maybe they want another. They probably think you don't care enough. I'm sure they don't like you now. So even if this type 2 has created an entire build your own sandwich buffet to help someone, the critic still says, nope, this is not enough. You can help them more. So type 3, their critic is the football coach. So they wear a headset, they have a scoreboard, they say, you didn't impress them enough. You lost ground. That wasn't shiny enough. Faster, higher, louder, better, stronger. And this critic keeps type 3 running like a hamster on the achievement wheel. And it can be very hard for types 3 to fail. They're very goal-oriented and they don't readily fail. At least they don't see that. And when they do, this critic can go berserk because type 3s can really over-identify with their image and what they do instead of who they are on the inside. So, going to bring up compassion again. Hold your type 3s with a lot of compassion, and if you lead with this type, offer yourself and your critic a lot of compassion. So type 4 is the comparison artist, or maybe artiste, because this critic is poetic. They're sometimes dramatic. It sits in a dark corner and whispers, everyone else is more beautiful than you. Everyone else is more authentic, more whole. Just look at their life. It's so much better than yours. So it says, come sit with me and let's revisit all of those awful and sad things that happened that got us here. Let us feel all of those emotions again. And I used the word dramatic earlier. It can be an overused word when it comes to type 4s. I do not mean to stereotype, but this critic can really be dramatic. So type 5's critic is the mean old librarian. So this librarian has glasses, has a red pen. It's very stern. It says, you know what? You don't know enough. Don't speak up. You will look stupid. You should have prepared more. You know what? You need to read more books and you need to go do more research before you make this presentation. So this critic keeps them locked up in the library and out of the act of doing anything or being with others because type 5s can be afraid of looking or sounding incompetent. Type 6 is the doubter-in-chief. So for 6s, this critic is basically a megaphone of anxiety and what-ifs. So what if something goes wrong that you hadn't considered? What if this falls apart? What if this happens? Did you double check, triple check? You're probably going to regret this. It is exhausting, and this critic is never satisfied. And finally, type 7, this is the clown with the megaphone. So for 7s, this critic says, don't even look at that sadness. Keep it light. Or maybe, you should be having more fun. Why are you bringing the mood down? So the critic doesn't let the type 7 admit to heaviness or grief. It demands that you move on, distract yourself, find the silver lighting immediately. Reframe this, reframe it. And this clown can really take over the show for a type 7. So there they are, 9 different critics, 9 different characters, but with the same job to keep you small, safe, and ever so slightly miserable. So now let's look at 7 practices to work with that inner critic. So the first practice is to reassign its job. I often have my clients create a boardroom of characters. My mentor coach would use this practice with her clients and with her students. So it's sort of like internal family systems, but you can have as many board members as you like. I keep mine to 9, 1 for each of the Enneagram types. Isn't that neat how that works out? So maybe type 8 is the manager, the boss, keeps things running. Type 7 is your inner child who just wants to play. Type 2 is the sandwich department who takes care of everyone's needs at lunchtime. So everyone has a job. You can use the Enneagram for your boardroom, or you can use something else. So the critic here, so this is my type 1, and no offense to the type 1s listening. Type 1 is the critic, and it thinks it runs the show. But you are the CEO, so remember this. You have the boardroom, you are the CEO. So when the critic starts taking over, it is time to step in and have a conversation. So the critic has a job. It's to keep us on track. It's to keep us striving to do better. But sometimes it starts micromanaging everything in the company. So have a conversation. Remind the critic of its role description and why it was even hired in the first place. And maybe even writing down or journaling what the critic can or can't say or do may be helpful here. So actually create that role description. Maybe write down the job descriptions of your other board members too. Play around with this one. So the second practice is to move energy. So you can't think your way into compassion. It has to be practiced physically. So put a hand on your heart, put a hand on your belly, and breathe and say, I am sending myself compassion. Another thing to try when it comes to moving energy is to shake off tension, brush it off. You can shake your hands, shake your legs, brush it off your arms and legs, or stretch. Yoga moves energy beautifully. Breath work is also a great way to move energy. So if you're feeling tight or rigid, which those inner critics can keep us pretty rigid, if you're feeling tight or rigid, it's going to be hard for compassion to find a way in. Create space by moving energy. So number 3 is kind of loosely connected to number 2. I call this one somatic interrupts. I invite you to get into your body. So walk barefoot. Another idea, do the 5 senses check-in. 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you feel, 2 things you smell, 1 thing you taste. And this little sensory reset can pull you back into the present and out of the critic's echo chamber, which can really live in the past. So number 4, this one I like. The practice is to sing, to literally sing what the critic is saying. So, oh man, you really sucked at that presentation this morning. Or whatever. I mean, sing it out loud. It can be ridiculous. And when the critic is ridiculous, it will loosen its grip on you. Or if you don't want to make it sing, maybe exaggerate the voice until it becomes absurd. For type 4s, maybe you make your critic a Shakespearean actor. Alas, your life is tragic. Creativity is unworthy and sad. You are sad human. I mean, make it completely ridiculous. The idea is to have fun. Humor is a solvent. It can really dissolve the critic's power. So number 5 is to reframe action steps or goals as experiments. So this is something I share often with my clients, and that is to think of everything as an experiment. And the one goal is to collect data. So ask yourself, what did I learn from doing XYZ? So if you bomb that presentation, what did you learn? If you avoid conflict and then regret it, and your inner critic starts speaking up, what did you learn by avoiding conflict? Think of everything as an experiment, and the one goal is to collect information. This can send a lot of inner critics back to their desks. All right, exercise number 6 is to write it down. Journaling. Yes, journaling. I know a lot of coaches talk about journaling, and it can be really powerful. It can be a really powerful tool, especially for those who lead with type 1, 2, or 6. Those are the verbal processors of the Enneagram, meaning they need to talk things through out loud. So getting it out of your head and onto paper can be really powerful and can really quiet that critic down. So the last exercise, and this is the one I mentioned earlier, this is to personify that critic. And I love this exercise, and this is the one I've used myself. So what you do is First, you describe what your critic looks like, and it cannot be you. Your critic is not you. This is the whole point, to get it out of you. So what does your critic look like? Is it big? Is it small? What color is it? What shape is it? Does it have a voice? So give it a name, give it a look, and then change one thing about it. So maybe the size. If it's big, shrink it down to the size of a kitten. Or maybe a cute ladybug. Make it really small. So if it's black, change the color to one you love. Maybe it's a beautiful turquoise or a vivid magenta. So my critic. So one of my mentor coaches, actually was a fellow student coach who was coaching me. We went through this exercise of personifying the critic because she had heard me say a lot of things and she was acknowledging me for all the stuff I was doing. And I would say, well, yeah, but, well, I know, yeah, but, and she said, Sandy, there's a lot of yeah, buts I'm hearing. And so we did this exercise. She's like, well, what is this? What is this yeah, but? What is it? And my yeah, but creature, as I call it, used to be this huge hulking thing. It was like a monster, like this shapeless, kind of dark gray black monster, very furry, like gross fur, that was just always kind of hulking in front of me. I couldn't really see a face. It was just like this blob. And we decided to change the color, and I changed that dark color of black or dark gray to yellow. And immediately the vision of a little minion, you know, minions, this vision of a minion came into mind. And I kind of started giggling. I'm like, well, minions are pretty cute, actually. So to this day, the Yabbit creature, for me, still exists. It's not in front of me. It's beside me. And it's not big. It's little. It's about the size of a softball, maybe a basketball on a bad day. And it looks like a minion. And it's sitting there next to me, and it's playing with my Rubik's Cube, because it's just kind of doesn't have anything better to do, really. But every now and then it pipes up. And I just kind of look over at it, and I give it a little pat on the head, and I say, yeah, I see you. I see you. I hear you. It's okay. It's okay. I got this. And it goes back to playing with the Rubik's Cube that it is yet to solve, but it's kept it very busy for many years. So that's my critic. And your critic, it's not the enemy. It is just a misguided bodyguard trying to keep you safe in very outdated ways. And every type has its flavor. Inner critic is not just for type 1s. We have the type 8 vulnerability shamer, the 9s chill friend, the 1s perfection police, the 2s guilt tripper, the 3s football coach, type 4s comparison artist, the 5s mean librarian, the 6s doubter in chiefs, and that annoying clown of type 7. So it's going to be different for everyone, but if there's one thing to take away from this episode, it's that you don't have to get rid of it, because the truth is you can't. You can't get rid of it. I am sorry to say. It is there to help you. It is there to keep you safe. You just need to stop letting it run your life. So personify it, reassign its role in the boardroom, play with it, change its voice, make it sing. Ground yourself in the body, ground yourself in your senses. So become present to it. So as I'm closing this out, I'm curious, what is the script of your inner critic? How does it talk to you? And if you know your Enneagram type, did that resonate with you? If you personified your critic, what would it look like? What would it sound like? And finally, which practice are you willing to try this week to change that conversation? So that is it for today. I appreciate you being here. And please share this episode with a friend who may have a harsh inner critic. And remember, if your critic starts reviewing how you listen to this episode, just tell them, you know what, I'm reassigning you to another department. All right, take good care, everyone. And remember, stay curious.